Okay, and we are live once again. Well, as the title of this live chat is listed, a lot of things going on, and this has been some interesting years, the past few years, and the developments that have happened after the last election and everything else. In reality, they came in like a storm, but a lot of this crap is kind of petering out or not turning out the way it should be, especially when it comes to taxes and a lot of other things. And anyone with any common sense would know, okay, uh, it can't be changed. So, Rod, how's it going? Navy vet. So, uh, I've had several things going on. One, my range has been closed for some work to be done, megabait, and that has curtailed a lot of my uh, work there because to keep the channel going and make content, I have to get there like when the sun comes up, when there's nobody at the friggin' range, so I can shoot the guns, talk, and make some sort of a video or do my testing of my reloads where I got to go back and forth at 50-yard range. So this unnecessary, well, it's just I've been hindered and I've been trying to crunch time. Then I had issues where I couldn't make videos. I just didn't have the time for it. So it appears that with this being interrupted, I got a lot of things to work on personally here with my reloading and the channel, but it's just the way situations are. I may have to go back to work part time for a while, which if I do, I guarantee you I'll be working weekends. Okay, that's the damn problem. All right. Morning. Glad to see you made it, Joe. Yeah. See, so, but now I don't know if I'll be able to do the Sundays because I have no idea what my schedule is going to be here in the near future. And I got several other pressing things I'm trying to get accomplished. Uh, just in personal realm. Plus, I got some footage. I did get out to shoot a lot of these guns I purchased over the past couple months, 2 or 3 months. The Argentine carbine, FR7, FR8, the M16 or M1916 version. I got a few guns, and finally that is Singapore rifle, which actually it shoots good. It's just the action ain't exactly smooth as silk, but it's a good gun. Yeah, and it's just the way things are. There were a lot of changes promised, would have kind of alleviated things, but there's a lot of circumstances that things are actually being retired. Things are getting more difficult for me as the year progresses. And at the end of the year, because they're not straightening out this tax stuff, I have to, you know, do things financially to be prepared for that so I don't get shorted uh, on cash wise. It's just an ever changing thing, just a pain in the ass. The thing is, you just stay ahead of it instead of ignoring things and then ending up getting caught in a situation where you're totally screwed. I don't want to do that. But it looks like I may have to go back to work. I mean, it was nice just worrying about mowing the lawn, doing some stuff around the house, make some videos, reload some ammo and everything, and that. Maybe go to an auction, buy some guns. But also, the gun market is, it's like everything unstable. I made those videos on reloading. It's insane to try to reload. In a way, that's right. I mean, somebody sent me a message from New Zealand, said it costs $100 for a pound of gunpowder down there. All right. And I mean, really, you can just about, excluding the brass, the difference between reloading for 7.62 NATO and buying something that's fairly decent, that Ingman ammo is made in Serbia or something. It's fine. It works nice. Somebody was asking me about some other ammo, and I'll tell all of you is, if you ever get anything out of Turkey, even though it's NATO marked and everything, I bought some 223 or 5.56. I mean, it was nice ammo. It was clean. It went off, but the accuracy wasn't there. I said the Lake City ammo out of my rifle's dead on, where this stuff, wasn't good. I mean, it was reloadable brass, about the only good thing about it. But if it's made in Turkey, I'd somewhat avoid it as a rule of thumb. Using people affixing targets to the on the wooden. Yeah. See, that's why we have angle iron steel. But they had a problem. Somebody was seeing if the armor piercing shells would go through the friggin' angle iron, and I mean, shot them up and destroyed them. Even if they put steel uprights to hold the thing. You lived in New Zealand for years. They say it's a nice place. All right. When we were in the Navy, they said if you ever go on a cruise and you get down there and they stop in New Zealand, they said it's, take the time to get off the ship and go look around in that. It was a pretty good deal, or it's a nice place. That's all I've heard. Gun laws suck, but a lot of people contact me, especially with the antique guns. A lot of people from New Zealand and Australia. I guess in those countries, that's the only firearms you can own, or Kropatchiks and things of that nature. Verndals and that. It's sad though, but that's what them guys are stuck shooting down there. I don't know about their gun laws. Several countries in the past, you could own firearms of one type. Australia was one, and Brazil was another. They had laws where they just said all private gun ownership is gone. And that's where you see the pictures of them taking them machines that crunch up metal and throwing all these firearms in there, 22s and single barrel shotguns and stuff like that. A lot of countries have changed over the years and been very restricted. I believe in Great Britain, you can't own any handguns. Civilians cannot own handguns or something. I'm not quite sure. I haven't kept up with it, and I don't know what the laws are. Yeah, a lot of countries, yeah, suppressors you just buy as a gun accessory, like a holster. All right. I was hoping that they'd change the laws on that and the short-barreled rifles. And the reason that whole law came out is because Clyde Barrow there, Bonnie and Clyde, he ripped off National Guard Armory and he took some BARs and he sawed them down and would hide them under a coat. And when you're talking cops are armed with 38 Smith & Wesson break actions or 32 Smith & Wesson longs, and this guy just pulls out a 20-round mag at 30-06 at close range and unloads on you in full auto. That's why that law kind of came up. Well, suppressors have been used mostly, and even to this day, in criminal assassinations. Okay, they show in any of the gangster movies, guys coming out of a restaurant, two guys walk up with 22s and, dump 10, 15 rounds into them with suppressors and just keep walking and nobody knows. So, yeah, that's another reason why in this country, because those were the three things they banned. Fully automatic weapons, which before I think is 1932 or 1935, you just go to the store and buy the damn things. Okay, Colt used to show their heavy machine guns on a tripod. They had advertisements in magazines to buy them to protect your ranch or whatever. Colt actually made a civilian model of the BAR to monitor. Thompson submachine guns you could buy in a hardware store in the 1920s. And, suppressors, Maxim designed them in the 1890s. Suppressors were around too. And actually, I know people that have some that are not marked that they bought, they were bought by somebody in the family back in the 20s before they were restricted. So, yeah, it's a different world. Parking lot, people sell their stuff. Yesterday, I bought sealed Spam cans. $39, $54, $8, $45. Yeah, how much were they asking for it? That's the question. I know you can't mention prices because I just started using the last Spam can that I bought, a 54R. I'm starting because I've gotten 2 or 3 new weapons in there, and I promised I'll take out all my M91s, which all ended up in Finland. Show them, and I'm going to go out and shoot them. That last one I bought with got rebarreled in 44. That thing's accurate as hell. It's a nice gun. Get to shoot them again. That's what I think I should do. Just goddamn concentrate on that. Yeah, people I've noticed the British too, they have a different way of looking at it, of warfare and everything. It's like these countries complain about shit, but they get upset when they're dragged into a war and their men have to go fight somewhere and end up getting killed. Okay, unfortunately, it's a very unrealistic view. And yes, people, it's like there's a collective, okay, in society. Like we all complain about the wokes and liberals and that, and these people have one mindset. Okay, and some of the arguments I've gotten into people about firearms is one guy told me that he made this comment that the NRA gives money to gun companies to force them or to help them sell guns to people, some weird thing like that. First of all, the NRA functions on donations, number one. Nobody sends the NRA money unless they decide to. Okay, number one. And number two, it's like saying a lobbying group pays a company to sell cars or sneakers or T-shirts. I don't. And you see these, and you try to argue with these people, and they're the ones that start going crazy, raising their voice, foaming at the mouth, and twitching, and tell you don't know what you're talking about. And who knows? You could get into hours on it. Good morning. Hunter with one, okay. No, I got one coming. That ain't coming till this week. I have to finish. It's a 91, but it was rebarreled in 44. It's still in the 1891 configuration stock also. It's the long one. I've got 4 different 91s. I got the M27, and now I'm getting M39. And I'm going to shoot them, compare them. The M39 is the epitome. It is the best Mosin style that they come up with. 1, 2, 5 for everything. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another thing I tell people. Yeah, the ammo's cheap. Okay, but you got to clean your gun. That's another thing. People don't clean their frigging guns. And it's simple. If you don't have corrosive bore cleaner, or like I said, you need something with a water base, like for black powder. And I've had people argue with me, well, hops number 9 covers. No, it does not, because it is a petroleum-based solvent. You need black powder bore cleaner, or if worse comes to worse, I made a video years ago when I got in this argument. I would fire those Nagants with that ammo and spray Windex down the damn bore, scrub them, wipe them out, and that's all. And then sit there over 3 or 4 weeks and shine a light down through them all the time. That's all you need is some water-based. It's fulminated mercury. That stuff, when you fire something like that in the old 8x50 and 56 ammo, that stuff will go off after 100 years. But that stuff that gets in the bore, no matter how much you clean it, it will eventually rot the bores out. That's why they stopped using the fulminated mercury. And you see a lot of guns that were used in World War I had to get rebarreled or something when they were recycled in a World War II. Yeah, there's still the old 91 hex receivers. I mean, it's pretty wild. And when I took mine apart, the action was shimmed. Okay, so you got to be careful when you disassemble those guns. I had one years ago. It was very accurate, but the thing was like a club, and I like Mausers a lot better than the frigging clunky ass Mosin Nagants. But I regret selling that gun. The way humans are, if someone wants to harm. Right, that's true. Okay, but you see, the thing is, what people don't realize is the reason we have these mass shootings and all this problems that we have here in this country. It is created by the way our society reacts towards each other. It is a social problem. It is not a gun law problem. It is not this. It's a social problem, and it's also a problem with mental health. Okay. And these things are not being dealt with or anything. Okay. And this is what causes it. Now, the reason the politicians love it is because it gives them a reason to disarm you. And once they disarm you, they can do whatever the hell they want. That is the ultimate goal. Yeah, I kind of proved that. Yes, that's another one you could use too, but I do have a supply of uh, corrosive ammo. It's like motor oil or something in water. I forget. I've used it for years and it works pretty good. I bought it from an old gun dealer. He found a case of it and I put it in an old hops bottle. $48.95. That's 8 of them. How much did they charge you for it? Huh? Yeah. How much were they asking? Yes, that's true. Yeah, cleaning the corrosive primers is not that difficult. Okay, but I've seen so many, and I see a lot of Mosin Nagants that probably had good bores, and people just didn't clean the damn guns. Because that one I looked at a 91 in a pawn shop. I told you when the guy ran the bore brush down there, this cloud of orange dust come flying out of the bore. I mean, it was bad. It was gone. And another one, alcohol and windshield wiper fluid. I think that's, well, isn't windshield wiper fluid just something with alcohol in it? How's it going? Yeah, going right. $60 a pound. So if you bought the whole case, $480. Well, if I get an 8-pound keg for $390 or something, by the time I pay shipping and handling and hazmat, I'm paying about $480 to have it delivered to me. So you kind of made out in a way. Yeah, you could say Judeo-Christian teaching, but it's just people don't have no self-control. Okay, and the family unit has broken down. Okay, yeah, I remember when I was a kid. You didn't do stupid shit. We did have one family that um, the one brother ended up in jail and broke in all the houses in the neighborhood and that. So there's always one. But in general, most of the kids that grew up around me in the different families, none of us ended up in prison or nothing. Everybody had some sort of job. I don't think anybody was homeless or anything. And it's because life was a lot more stable then. And of course, the economy was a hell of a lot different also. All right. And over time, yes, the first thing you get rid of, because the reason a lot of people didn't get divorced and stuff is somewhat of a religious thing that wasn't good. Okay. And it was kind of frowned upon in society. All right. So they attack religion. They attack the community. It's like everyone's out for themselves. If you drive to the local grocery store, you see people driving. It's like everyone's out for themselves. And then the thing is, if there's any stress or anything in a marriage, the divorce rate is high, and broken homes where there's no stability. And the only solution is to medicate everyone with some sort of sedative, children included at a very early age. And, that's how you break down society. Victor Davis Hanson said everything that happened under the Biden administration, all the stuff, open borders, runaway spending, all this, all these things. He listed several points. He goes, if you're out to destroy a country, these are the things that you would do to totally destroy a nation and its society. So yes, and see the thing, like I'm saying, they talk a good game and that, but I don't see any of this getting repaired soon. I don't really see the economy making any great leaps and bounds. Okay, um, here, and you have to really be careful what decisions you make in that. Just with the property alone, what's going on here, and what, like this rundown house in my development was part of the earlier thing. I never thought that it would bring the money that it did, which means that my home is worth, okay, way more than what the hell I expected, the property I have. But the only thing I have, I'm not looking. It's like they said, okay, say you sell the house, you make all this money, you still got to have a place to live. To replace it or live the same way would actually cost me 2 to 3 times more than what I paid for this house 20 some years ago to have the same thing. So you're not really making ahead, getting ahead. Yeah, it's accumulated some value, but you can't be homeless. It's tough, and I don't think things are gonna change rapidly here. Put it that way. Bittering agent. Okay. Yeah, social media can do a bit more harm than good. Somebody like me, a lot of people that I know my age don't get involved whatsoever. And even if a relative or child convinces them to get a Facebook page, they never post nothing on it or pay attention to it or communicate on it. There are a lot of people that don't use, the older people that don't use social media whatsoever, or even email, okay, or buy things online, okay. There's a lot of people that just don't do it, because I try to look for some friends from the military or something, and you can't find them on Facebook or anywhere because they don't do that, okay. um, that's a strange thing about it. But for the younger people, it's like it's an addiction. It's like every time you go somewhere and you're waiting, everyone's staring at the phone, staring at the phone. And the strange thing is, it used to be, if you're in a doctor's waiting office or something, people would talk. You'd talk to somebody just to pass the time while you're waiting. Just casual conversation. That isn't done anymore. Okay, and that's kind of the scary thing uh, about it. When people stop communicating, like humans are together type of communicating, that's why there's a lot of social problems. Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. They just let crime go to the point where it's so bad that everyone will agree to some sort of really bad, uh, all I could say is fascist style policing, where you have no friggin' rights. Okay, and that is the plan. The plan is to just let crime get so bad that people will agree to anything just to make it stop. Okay. Don't like women now with blue, pink hair, covered with tattoos. Yeah, I used to get my balls broken because I had tattoos. I kind of liked them. You know, had them for years. Oh, you could always get a job in the circus if you lose your job in the factory, all this other shit. And now I see women that are 20 years old that have full coverage from the side of their face down to their hand, and uh, And then the piercings, some of that shit. It's like putting the loops in your earlobes. I've seen guys doing that, like you see in West Pago or wherever it was in the islands or down in the jungles of Brazil. Little hunks of spears through their nose and that. Yeah, it's life's different. What are you gonna do? And yep, soul guy goes. I asked the girl if she had a ring in her nose. He goes, "What are they trying to stop you from rooting for?" And he said, "My granddaddy used to put a ring in a pig's nose to keep it from rooting up all the vegetables in the garden." And I looked at him and I said, "This guy's like 80 years old." I said, "Yeah, actually, she didn't even know what the hell you're talking about. What are they trying to stop you rooting around for?" She didn't understand that. I said, "That's another person you don't want to go out in public and stand in line at the grocery store." Good morning, 314. That depends. I can't agree with you on that. You had to go 40 years ago, you had to go to some pretty unique places in this country to find women that had, fairly, I'd say 40-50% body coverage and tattoos. And it really never bothered me. Okay. But now it's commonplace. Never thought of that. But it all depends on your personal taste. I was at a gun show with my supervisor, and he was a bit younger than me. And there was this, we're going past the table, and there was this tall woman. She's about 6'2". I'd say she's in her late 20s, wearing a dress, and she had the coverage all the way down one arm, the old black art. It's all black, no color. It's intricate patterns and that. And my boss, he was single. And he says, "Check that woman out." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Go over there and ask her you'd like to look at her tattoos, and I guarantee you she'll show them to you." He goes, "I ain't gonna do that." And he gets all nervous and starts. I said, "Calm the fuck down there. Let's go over." I said, "Hey, I said, that's some pretty interesting work." I said, "Where'd you get it done?" I asked her, and she's showing me all this stuff and that. Then I said, "Thank you." Stand there with her boyfriend. Nobody said shit. I didn't get punched in the head or nothing. So I said, "All you got to do is ask." Had one guy come to a flea market, and he had something really nice that I liked. It was Buddha with all the stuff. It was real intricate tattoo. And I asked him, I said, "Where'd you get that done?" And he was showing me, and he told me where he got it done and that. And he said, "Thanks for admiring it." And he gave me the guy's name. He said, "Yeah, you go down there if you like artwork along these lines." He goes, he kind of specializes in that. He'll do it. So, it is a social thing. Again, where you have human contact. What's everyone's favorite caliber? Okay, let's get into this. This is a good one. All right, now we get a question that'll liven things up a little. Okay, 45 Colt. We got 45 Colt, and they brag about their body counts. Who's bragging body counts? When did we start killing people? I don't know. 45 Colt is one favorite caliber. All right, well, who's got something out there? I guess you guys can type. I don't know if any of you's on the phone, but I like sitting there at my desktop. 45 Colt. Good caliber. If you're into the cowboy action stuff, it is the caliber. They make all these repro guns in that, the lever actions, or even the Spencer uh, is, I guess we're saying cartridge, our favorite cartridge. It could mean the same. It's like clip magazine. What's your favorite caliber? 45 ACP or whatever. So I guess that's going to be the thing. Cartridge. Let's go with cartridge. Yes. Yes, cartridge. 308 and 38 327 Magnum. I know you're old because those are some of the good ones for me. If I was going to hunt deer and say something up to black bear, 308 Win is what I have. I actually have two sporting rifles, is what I would use for, large game, at least where I came from. We didn't have moose, grizz, stuff like that. And a 38 357 Magnum, that's where I'm going to do a video. The 38 Special revolver. If you were just stuck with a general purpose weapon, is probably all you'd need. The 357 Magnum came about because it was in the 30s. It was developed way in the 30s, and it was developed for the same reason: is the highway patrol needed a weapon that would stop somebody in a car. Okay, the motorized bandit, so to say. But 38 Special for a city police force was more than enough for many, many years. And then the state police started doing the 357 Magnum, or most police forces, because they needed, I guess, more power in that. But then Gaston Glock, high power's been around with a 12-round 9-round magazine since the 30s. But again, a 4-inch barrel 38 is easy to carry. Okay. Yes, you're limited to 6 rounds in the shooting, but it's a damn good general. And well, I'll get into it when I make the video. We got some other people. All right, here we go. 222 Remington. Must be you do not like groundhogs or woodchucks or whatever. But I knew people used to poach deer because up in New York it was 22 caliber was, you couldn't get popped by the game warden. A lot of guys used to poach deer with that. Yeah, okay. And with the right twist rate and everything, very accurate gun. Okay, 9mm, which is right now the 9mm has replaced what used to be 38 Special, at least here in the U.S. I don't know about overseas, but the 9mm, because it already was used in most countries outside of the U.S., the 9mm has somewhat become universal as a handgun cartridge. I mean, even the Russians and the Poles are issuing guns now in 9mm. And just about every country in the world, or any military police force, uses a 9mm. It's not exactly my favorite caliber, but it is what it is. All right, here we go. A well-rounded person. 3220, 30 Winchester centerfire, 243, which is a good cartridge. Somebody had a rifle and gave me one of those to load, create a load. I borrowed the rifle. I had one for a while. It's not a bad cartridge, okay, for hunting, medium game, like I said, deer and stuff. 38 Special, yes. 30-06 was at one time the favorite. If you go to any old reloading manual, you can find load data for 30-06 and the mole alignments. You could find about 600 loads in there from any type of bullet weight from 125 grains to 220 grains, and every damn powder known to man that it can be applied to it. So that was an interesting caliber. 45 Colt just came back recently. So many years ago, you wouldn't see it. It was the 44 Magnum. In the 70s, it was the 44 Magnum and 357 Magnum, Starsky and Hutch style stuff. 9mm weren't that popular. 4570, okay, that's another one. Recently made a comeback. And this one here, 5070, outstanding cartridge. I actually like it and shoot better at close range with a 5070 than I do with the 4570s in my Springfields. But that was one that was resurrected. That thing was obsolete probably in the 40s. And that. Very interesting. 41 Magnum. It used to be Clint Eastwood with his Smith 29. This is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and will blow your head clean off. Well, the problem is the 41 Magnum generated more power than the 44 Magnum. So in reality, the 41 Magnum at that time was the most powerful factory produced. You know, you can go to the store and buy one handgun on the market. Yeah. But that one's hard to find. That's a tough one. It never gained popularity. They did make guns in that caliber. Smith did. I don't know if Colt did or not. But trying to find ammo and get loads for it now, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. Didn't get in the movie, you know. Dirty Harry should have been at. 30 Remington. Come to find out, the 30 Remington, like 30-30, Remington made a lot of those guns, and if you ever watch any of the old movies, that is what the prison guards used instead of Ruger Mini 14s, which a lot of prison systems adopted that rifle for their guard towers. 30 Remington was the gun, and it is. I had one. It is slick to shoot, even though it only has a 5-round mag. I mean, you take that thing, you can fire it like a AR-15. It was a cool gun. And the 30 Remington, it's just a rimless 30-30, I believe. It was not a bad cartridge. .220 Swift. Okay. .220 Swift. Barrel and throat burn. Yeah, some of those, whenever you're pushing something close to 4,000 feet per second, which some of these cartridges here could do that, you find the barrel erosion. It's just a matter of physics. So I never fool any of this. .357 Remington Maximum. Yeah, somebody come up to me because I was selling ammo and started going on about it. They made a few of those. I have some 180 grain jacketed hollow points, but I think they're used more for long range silhouette pistol shooting. But yes, there was a short time it was made, and kind of there's somebody I met that had one in that caliber. But I don't know if you can even get brass for that. Okay, that's the thing about it. $253,000. See, there are a lot of these cartridges, these hunting cartridges. And see, you guys are all into this stuff. I've shot mostly military rounds all the time. 8 millimeter Mauser, okay, I'd say is the one I've shot the most of. Um, and I'm going to have to say that's my favorite. I've had a lot of rifles in that caliber. I like shooting it in the 88 Gewehr's and that. It's accurate, it's powerful, and there's a lot of guns out there to shoot it. 30-06 is okay. I had a couple. Well, I got a sporting rifle in it. It's a good cartridge, but I do prefer, if I was going to hunt with a rifle, it'd be the 308. Less powder, not as much recoil and force. You don't. 30-06 is an older cartridge. 8 millimeter is also. But yeah, those would be the 308, 8 millimeter Mauser I shot a lot of. I've shot all the other ones, but those are the ones I use mainly and have more time with it. And the 8's pretty good all the way around. As far as handguns, let's take a look. All right, so Starline still makes it. .25-06 or 22-250. Actually, I got somebody I might be working with that. I know someone that has a 22-250. All right, so yeah, that would be like for a silhouette pistol. So they still have somebody producing 357 maximum. All right. As for handgun cartridges, actually, I'll tell you my favorite handgun cartridge of all times, and I've had several guns for them, and I really like it, is the 32 ACP. And why? When you can have, I've shot, like I said, 38 Special is cool. 357 Magnum I liked, and that was kind of my favorite when I was younger. I still have my 386 or whatever, Smith & Wesson, beautiful pistol, love it. But 32 auto, you can have a very small, compact firearm that either slides into your belt, your pants pocket, or something, okay? And for some odd reason, even when I had an old, I think it's Ortigues or something, pistol, and my CZ 50, whatever, the 70 gave me shit, but the older one, I shoot those guns, kind of like in a Walter style size, and they're accurate. I don't miss. You can control them. They're small, they're light, they're flat. And I've always liked 32 auto. A lot of people say, it ain't worth the shit. It can't kill anybody or anything, or it's not that good of a defense round. But that's the one I'd go to. After that, 38 or 9 or 380s, they're all adequate. I own so many pistols in those calibers that, it's all kind of the same. But 32, that's one, that I kind of like. Another question. What do you shoot the most? All right, now we got a second question. 2506. .257 Roberts. Yeah. Are you looking stuff up? Yeah, 32. I'd carry a 380 for a small gun, but I'd still carry a 32. nonetheless, like I said, I won't miss with it. 6.5 by 55. Oh yeah, I'm glad I never had anything with one of them. All them short mags, or I don't think they even, it's almost impossible to get ammo. I had so many people request ammunition for that, and I haven't seen any. .45 Colt and 30-30. Okay. Cast loads. Well, for me, what do I shoot the most? Is because with my vast array of handguns, it used to be 38s, and at one time I had an indoor range and I had my Springfield Armory 1911. I used to shoot more 45 ACP with cast bullets at the indoor range. I used to go through a couple thousand rounds through the winter because I'd go once a week and practice. And I got to be damn good with that gun. Doesn't show now, but of course it's like jogging or lifting weights. You got to go and practice and keep your strength up, your arms, your grip, your whole form and control and practice. It's like anything, golf, hang gliding, bowling, But no, it was 45 ACP. Shot a ton of 8mm. When I had 24 Mosin Nagants, I shot 2 or 3 tins of 7.62 by 25R. Shot a lot of different 9mm because I have a ton of 9mm. I go through thousands of rounds of 9, just putting 2 boxes through 4 different 9mm. All right. That I can't answer because it changes. And I've shot more 7.62 NATO in the past month, buying 3 different guns or 5 different guns than I have in the past 8 years. Okay, and I'm going to shoot more of it. I'm going to end up shooting well over a few thousand rounds, probably by the end of summer, of that caliber. So that's that one and it changes. That one you kind of can't get me to answer. Yeah, 38 Super. Somebody made a video that's going to be a new handgun cartridge and this and that, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's going nowhere. Part of the problem is we sit here, we know about this, we talk about this, but the average person, okay, that goes out and buys a gun during these mass panics does not have a very in-depth knowledge of firearms. I've seen it at the gun show. That's why the gun show guys always carry Glocks, Springfield Armories, whatever the hell is heavily advertised in a magazine or something that somebody will see. That is what somebody with no experience with guns will come and buy, and they will buy a brand name in 9, or if they get talked into a revolver, they'll buy a revolver in 38 with plus P or something like that. Like I see a lot of people just want a small concealable gun. The 38 snub nose is what they go for. Simple to operate, low maintenance, okay? And they're probably not going to shoot it a lot. So yeah, that's why the 30 Super Carry, if you say that, people won't even know what the hell you're talking about. It's a mystery to them. So this thing's going to fall by the wayside like a lot of other different unusual guns or calibers that come out. They may be good, and everything else. Yeah, and here's another one, the 325 WSM. Okay, I've heard about it. Just finding a gun is one thing, and ammo you can't get. and really off the wall. Because what was it? The Magnum H&R Mag, the one they made before that. It was another one that sounded like a really good cartridge and everything, but it never took off. Okay. And then they tried to outdo it to get more power. And that's another thing. The salesman is going to tell these people. I had so many people told, don't go to 380, go to 9mm, which is a more expensive gun because they have least expensive 380 or less expensive 380s there for self-defense net. And this woman told me that the salesman in the store told her that. And I said, okay, well, do you expect to shoot somebody any further, or if someone attacks you, they're going to be close to, okay, and unless you go to extensive training in that, you're better off with a 380 automatic that if you shoot it and can kind of control it and the recoil isn't that bad and the person's within 6 feet, okay, 380 is lethal enough. The 9mm cost more, but if you're the type of person that is a small compact 9 is hard recoiling and you're fearful of shooting it or it hurts your hands, I said that's where you're going to screw up, okay, because you're going to be nervous shooting. We're going to be nervous, number one, because you're attacked, and you're nervous about shooting the gun is going to make it worse. You should have something you feel comfortable with. Then I shoot all of them, 7.62 by 54. Once I'm done with this batch of corrosive surplus stuff, I'm just going to reload for it. I shoot 10, 20 rounds out of the rifles. Once you hit where you're shooting, I don't have the need. I've done crazy gun geek challenge where you shoot, what was it, 40 or 60 rounds within 2 minutes or some horse shit or something. We had them weird ass challenges when ammo's cheap. But I mean, truthfully, like I took that one last gun out, I popped 15 rounds out of it. I lined the sight up, it was right there, and where do you go? Fortunately, I have one similar, which I fire my 10 rounds out of that, and I'll go fire 10 rounds out of that, and then 10 rounds out of the 10, 15, 20 out of the next, and next thing you know, 60, 80 rounds is gone. Yeah, when you can get lead that's cheap, they don't produce lead or smelt lead in the U.S. no more, and to get good stuff that casts a really nice bullet, okay, it costs a lot of money. And plus, my hand is worse. I'm having trouble casting. I'm having trouble doing a lot of shit. Is my disability? It gets worse with age, and there's nothing to do to fix it. Okay. But yeah, cast bullets are fun. If you're just shooting at a target, and you got a good supply of lead, man, that's kind of the way to go. And if you go to NOE, he makes all these oversized molds, so you're getting that 2,000ths more, 2,000ths over groove diameter, and then you don't need a gas check or nothing. You got a super ass bullet that once you tweak it in, it'd be accurate as hell. 40 Super, the new 10mm. They brought that up. I don't even look into it. The 30 Super Carry. Yeah, 314. So, yep, there you go. I'm giving away my secrets. 314 diameter bullet, 2400. Sharp. Yeah, see, those things, I remember them. And yeah, they never really took off. Okay. And that caliber, I mean, it has a purpose. People wanted it. They made it, but that's another one. These things fall by the wayside and become an oddity. It's like 300 Savage was a fairly common cartridge. Trying to get a load or a brass for 300 Savage is a pain in the ass. $400 worth of wheel weights. That's a lot of wheel weights. I used to melt them down. I cast the ball. I just buy the damn hardball or whatever, or the souped up Lyman #2, and I use that. And I get some nice, good bullets out of there. Actually, I should go out and shoot my 8mm again. Or the Kropacheks. Yeah. But there's a problem with range lead, and the reason I don't use it. Some cartridges, they harden the lead with arsenic. And if you get this lead into your, with mixed in there, even though it's lead, it don't cast the bullet worth of crap. Okay, it's like melting down lead shot. Recovered range, and it's filthy. I tried melting some of it down once. Unless you got a cauldron or something and a way to do it, it's nasty. Yeah, because I mean, once you get it, if you have, it's hard for me to find pure lead to make the black powder bullets like I was trying to make. I still got those 2 replica Sharps. I got the civilian rifle, and I bought that cavalry carbine. And there's a guy that makes that Cross Center, whoever, because if you buy that bullet from Era's Gone Bullet Mold, which I did, I tried making the paper cartridges with the tail, and that got all fucked up. But he makes it where you can roll it with the linen and put a paper thing on there and make the cartridge to shoot. I'd like to try that out and see. Yeah, 30 Thompson TC. Hey, did you get it purified, or did you purify it yourself? Because somebody gave me a couple 5-gallon pails of that shit, and I ended up just throwing it away. I mean, because all the stuff in there, I mean, it's black, it's filthy, and I know there are some places that have it processed and sell it. You can buy, there's a range that will sell you the lead. They have it processed and cast into ingots. Yes, that's true. See, I don't even quench them. My buddy and me, we did that with a bucket of water and everything. I just used the hardball. Yeah, once you get any zinc contamination, man, it screws up all of it. And it depends where you're getting the lead from. That's why the scrap lead and stuff, you don't know. I bought it from Roto Metals or Zip Metals or something. I mean, the stuff is hideous. And it says 99 point something or 99% pure. And it has some sort of stuff in there that's horrible. And the lead's no good. I might have to take that, some of it, and sell it. Yeah, I've run into it. Yes, it does. I used to just cast. I could get linotype. I used to cast bullets out of pure linotype for years. Actually, I got a ton of them under there that are still there. But that's a tad bit expensive nowadays. Of course, I used to get the lead for free too. I used to get the linotype for free. yeah, any of it. And I don't know where the zinc comes in. I know some of the wheel weights are made out of zinc now. And I don't know where, it's kind of like when people are just grabbing all the scrap and melting it down, selling you the scrap lead. I don't know where they're getting it from. And it's like when I bought that stuff from Rhoda Metal, I thought it was pure lead. It isn't. I mean, there's some nasty stuff in there, and how they're doing it or what they're doing it or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, because lino, good lino or the old-fashioned lino I had, that stuff is fantastic as is. Okay, they make good damn bullets, and even water quenching them, they're harder than hell. We made super hard bullets. We made bullets in the 38 special that punched through a car door. In the junkyard, we took a car door, shoot right through the damn thing with it. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't full wheel weights anymore. I did for years. I used to get them. People used to give them to me and that, but too much of a hassle. Yeah, you only shoot titanium armor piercing ones, right? Yeah, it is. Well, all right, that was fun. What we like to do, what we like to cast, what we like to shoot. But back to the main topic. Like I said, things have been getting to where I'm going to have to rearrange my schedule, and it's uncertain. Next few weeks, I have no idea what's going to go on. I have a lot of things to take care of, and then look into some things. So this live chat, I'm going to end it for a while. I'll be tied up doing other things in this time period after this week. And we'll probably get back to it later on, because I'm finding out now that the weather's nice. People are milling around and doing things. We're getting less and less people in the chats and kind of running out. At least somebody brought up some topics today, gave us something to talk about a little bit. So I'm probably going to curtail this after this week for a period of time. And if that changes, or I'll see how things settle out here in a month or so, I'll post a notice or something, or send something somewhere where you guys can find it again. And we'll get back into having a live chats. All right, guys. Once again, thanks for showing up. And we'll see when we'll resume it all again. All right.